Hello, I'm Jeanette Monfusco, a sophomore international business major at Bloomsburg University. This is my presentation for my international relations class. For my presentation, I've decided to talk about inequality and exclusion and mostly focus on some international organizations and non-governmental organizations that have helped to reduce the issue of inequality. First, I want to touch on what exactly inequality is to give you a better understanding about what is going to be talked about. Inequality is the state of not being equal, especially in status, rights, and opportunities. This issue has increased over the last 3 decades. International inequality is the idea of inequality between countries. This can be global inequality, economic differences, medical care, and even education. Since this issue of inequality takes place all around the world, I want to give you some of the world's most unequal countries. In terms of income distribution, South Africa sits at number 1, Haiti comes in at a close second, and Botswana sits at number 3rd. If you're comparing unequal countries by their living standards and happiness, Central Africa Republic is number 1, Burundi is number 2, and Tanzania is number 3. To really open your eyes about this issue, I have provided many eye-opening statistics I found on the Oxfam International website. 1. The world's richest 1% have more than twice the wealth of 6.9 billion people. Half of the world's population, which is about 3.4 billion people, live with less than $5.50 a day. Every year, 100 million people are pushed into poverty because they have to pay out of pocket for health care. They are not provided insurance or free health care. About 258 million children, 1 of every 5, are not allowed to go to school and get an education. Women earn 24% less than men and also own 50% less wealth than men. The first organization I want to talk about is a non-governmental organization called Oxfam. Oxfam is a confederation of 20 independent charitable organizations. The main focus is the alleviation of global poverty. You might be wondering, how does this organization help? Well, they use practical tactics and innovation to help deliver on their promises. They develop programs, they provide public education, they make campaigns, and they are an advocacy and humanitarian assistance. Oxfam has done many things in their fight against poverty. Some examples of what they have done are invest in work on tax justice and domestic resources mobilization. They are pro-poor taxation policies. They also support civil society in order to monitor public finance and help hold governments accountable for promises and deliver of free quality services. They support campaigns for health and education and also support organizations that try to find innovative ways to reach women and girls, since inequality is very high among women. The second organization I want to touch on is connected to the government and is called the United Nations. This is sometimes known as the UN. The UN is an international governmental organization that aims to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relations among nations, achieve international cooperation, and harmonize the actions of nations. This is the largest, most familiar, most internationally represented, and most powerful international government organization in the world. The creation of the UN was based on a new global consensus around equality and human dignity after World War II. Along with the Oxfam organization, the UN has done many things to help fight against inequality around the world. When I was reading the UN's website, I found this quote that really stuck out. Food, healthcare, water, and sanitation, education, decent work, and social security are not commodities for sale to those who can afford them, but basic human rights to which we are all entitled. This is very touching and eye-opening, to realize not everyone has accessibility to these basic human rights that we all take for granted. Along with that touching quote from the UN's website, I also found how they have helped fight against inequality. They have created the Open Working Group, which is known as the OWG of General Assembly. This organization helps create proposals for the Sustainable Development Goals, known as the SDG. This organization has also recently proposed a standalone goal on inequality with 7 targets and 3 means to achieve them. And one of their SDG goals that they came up with, which is SDG number 10, is to reduce inequality within and between countries. The UN believes that political leaders should raise their ambition, businesses should raise their sights, and people everywhere should raise their voices to help make a change in this issue on inequality. On this slide, I have pictured different types of inequality that are all around the world. On the left, there is a little girl holding a sign that says she believes equal play, equal pay. This is touching on the fact that women are very unequal to men and that the wages women are paid are a lot less than men. On the right on top, this is an example of poverty and what children, like the little girl in the picture, have to live through without having basic food, not having a place to wash their hands, wash their bodies, etc. And on the bottom right, there is a world graph of wealth distribution around the world, and you can see some of the poorest countries that there are in some of the richest countries. So many people are suffering around the world because of many things that have caused inequality, like these pictured. The problem seems to keep growing and not getting any better. There are many organizations, like the UN and Oxfam, that are trying to make a change, and I encourage you all to research this issue and see if there's anything you can do personally to help make a change. This slide lists the resources I have used to help me prepare this presentation for you. Thank you for listening. That is all I have.